I just want to extend my sincerest condolences to the Atienza family. Emman, you're such a beautiful and bright soul. Rest in peace. You did not deserve the hate that you got. This is exactly what I mean every time I tell people, especially on the podcast, choose to be kind always. Hindi nyo alam ang pinagdadaanan ng bawat isa. Hindi nyo alam ang pinagdadaanan ng mga celebrities or ng mga influencers that you look up to. Hindi porket public figure sila ay pag-aari nyo na sila. Hindi ibig sabihin na public figure po sila ay may karapatan na kayong you have all the right to break them apart. Like, you have no idea what people go through on a daily basis. You have no idea the struggles, the trauma, and everything that each and every person go through. You have no right to judge them for their decisions, to judge them how they cope with pain, to judge anybody. Diyos pa kayo. Hindi porkit may nabasa kayo, may napanood kayo, may karapatan na kayong pagsalitaan yung mga tao na as if alam na alam niyo yung buong kwento. As if andung kayo sa sentro ng kwento na yon and may first-hand experience kayo. You know nothing. And when you don't know anything, just keep your mouth shut. Be human. Seriously, be human. Put yourself in their shoes. How would you feel if you open your phone and you're going through the toughest of times in your life and ang nakikita mong mga comments sa comment section mo ay mamatay ka na, wala kang kwenta, useless ka, pangit ka. Anong klaseng tao ka to have that much hate in your heart? To say that to another person na hindi mo kilala? Anong karapatan mo? Diba? It's like, enough is enough. Ilang beses pa to kailangan mangyari para matauhan na kayong lahat mga basher kayo? It's like, it's about time for you to wake the fuck up and just be a good person. Hindi nyo alam ang pinagdadaanan ng bawat isa. Hindi lahat ng bagay sinishare ng mga tao dito sa social media because it's none of your business. A lot of people don't share what they go through on a daily basis on social media because it's not for your viewing. It's not for you. Because wala kayong pakialam doon. It's just so sad. Because she was such a bright soul. And alam mo yun, nakakahanga yung pagka-prangka niya, pagka-free spirit niya. And at dami niyang na-inspire na tao dito sa social media just because of her authentic self. And yet a lot of you here, all the bashers here, just saw it as such a negative thing. Like, you chose to see it in such a negative light. You guys did see that she was just being herself. And what is so wrong about that? Sa mga bashers dyan, as long as wala kayong alam, wala kayong first-hand experience at hindi nyo kilala yung mga taong binabash nyo dito sa internet, kung ako sa inyo, manahimik na lang kayo. Problemahin nyo yung mga sarili nyong problema. Stop wasting your time hating on people you don't know. It's insane. It's like, how can you live with yourself? Sa lahat ng mga nabash kay Emman, sana makonsensya kayo lahat sa mga pinaggagawa at pinagsasabi nyo sa kanya. Sana maramdaman nyo yung impact na ginawa nyo sa kanya. 19 years old. Grabe. And everyone that is struggling with mental health, please ask for help. Seek help. Talk to someone. It's not easy. I struggle with that also. And, it's just something we have to constantly work on with ourselves so that we can keep on living and, but it's never easy. So I just want you to know that what you feel is valid and that maraming nagmamahal sa'yo. At I really hope you find healing in your heart and peace because you deserve that. You really deserve that. And if you're watching this and you're struggling right now, I'm praying for you. I'm really praying for you that you get through this. There's so much things to live for, and I hope that you find that peace in your heart to keep going. Such a sad day. Such a sad day. Rest in peace to the beautiful Emman.
I'm coming clean. If you followed my content for a while, you know I was diagnosed with bipolar disorder in my mid-teens. This means that I'd have phases of extreme happiness called manic episodes and phases of extreme sadness called depressive episodes, and each of them lasted around a couple weeks. Even though it was very obvious to me whenever I was in a depressive episode, manic episodes were much more complex and it was much harder to tell when I was in one. So oftentimes I didn't know the difference between a manic episode and healing. Throughout my battle with mental health, I think one of my biggest insecurities was the way that I looked. Basically, I always thought that I was super unattractive, and I would often spiral about this whenever I was in a depressive episode. A telltale sign of me being in a manic episode, however, was if I got super obsessed with anything related to self-care or self-improvement. For example, I'd get really obsessed with the gym, I'd post about it everywhere, I'd talk about it all the time, I'd be controlling my diet obsessively. Another example is skincare. I was so obsessed with it to the point where I had like a 20-step skincare routine, and I'd have to wake up at like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. before going to school to do all the steps of my skincare routine. My natural skin is very sensitive, so it would often leave my skin like peeling, itching, irritated, etc. It got to the point where my obsession would affect my work and studies because I was so obsessed. And this whole obsession was in the pursuit of beauty in this tiis ganda culture. I'm sorry for my pronunciation. Whenever I got into these episodes, I'd always think that all of this work and effort would be worth it because eventually I'd reach this beauty standard that I set for myself. I'd think that it was me healing and that I'd finally be happy, and then I'd hit a depressive episode again and I'd feel like I went all the way back to where I started. I'd become depressed again, I'd lose the hyperfixation, and I'd be left feeling even worse than before. It was just this constant cycle of false hope followed by an even bigger depressive episode. But why do we go to such lengths for the sake of beauty in this tiis ganda culture? My point is, you don't need to sacrifice your sanity just to feel beautiful. I've taken several steps in my life towards better self-care habits that aren't as harsh and aren't as obsessive. For one, I found exercise methods that I found fun and I enjoy in my free time. Instead of becoming overly obsessed with something I don't necessarily enjoy doing, I found a hobby related to exercise, which is why I rock climb. And in that same strain, instead of putting all these harsh chemicals on my skin hoping for the best, I did my research and I found Clinéa. I love these products. Clinéa is a skincare brand that helps me feel beautiful the clean and safe way. They use all natural ingredients in their products, which feels so good on my sensitive skin. They don't do any animal testing, they don't use any animal ingredients, and they don't use any kind of harsh chemicals or fragrances that could irritate your skin. So not only is Clinéa good for your skin, but it's also very good for the environment, which in turn is good for your conscience. And if you're wondering, this is their nose Bible, basically everything they don't have in their products. With that being said, I want to know about you guys. What tiis ganda things have you done? Let me know in the comments. Love you guys. Bye-bye. This might be a controversial take, but hear me out. I am all for normalizing mental health, mental illness, and struggles with mental health. That needs to be normalized because it's something that everyone struggles with. But what I've noticed with the normalization of mental health is also the simplification of mental illness and mental disorders. And what I mean by that is now mental illness seems so much more simple than it actually is. And it's made it more accessible to people in a way where, like, you know, you'll see something on TikTok like 5 signs you have ADHD. 1, you go to the kitchen, you forget what was there. Like, that pisses me off. Because I have ADHD and I find it so stupid that you're trying to turn symptoms into just little quirks that everyone does. Literally everyone in the world does. Because what that's doing is discrediting the actual struggles that people with ADHD go through. Because now you hear people saying, I think everyone has a little bit of ADHD. Or now you're hearing people self-diagnosing themselves with different things. And that's not how it works. I understand that some people don't have the resources or the ability to go see a licensed professional, let's say a psychiatrist, to get properly diagnosed. But that just means that you can find resources to help with your specific issues. But don't go around telling everyone that I have ADHD, I have this, I have that, when you weren't professionally diagnosed. And to make it make more sense, I'll apply it to physical health. Let's say you think you have cancer, right? But you don't have the resources to go to an oncologist, a doctor of cancer. You search up the symptoms online, you're just like, I have that symptom, I have that symptom, I have that symptom. Okay, I'm gonna go around telling everyone that I have cancer now. No, nobody does that. At least your average person will not do that. And that's why I find it kind of ridiculous that now people are just scrolling through TikTok seeing random information about ADHD, which is more often than not is misinformation about ADHD. And they're trying to diagnose themselves saying, oh yeah, I have ADHD when they've never been diagnosed. And what happens is people will start to claim that disorder, right? They'll start to claim, I have this, I have that. But they're being fed, more often than not, they're being fed misinformation. So when they claim that they have something based off of misinformation, they're going to further the spread of misinformation. And that's why you see now people are always saying mental health matters, mental illness, like awareness, etc., etc., etc. But when someone actually shows genuine signs of mental illness or certain disorders, people turn away from that because there are other people who are claiming that they have said illness, said disorder, who have never actually been properly educated or never have actually been properly diagnosed, that are spreading misinformation about what it is, when in fact it's a neurotypical quirk that they have that they're trying to turn into neurodivergence. Yeah. Okay, that's all. Bye.